pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so all members are in attendance other than Mr. Fuchs, who is unavailable. And we had a resignation recently, so Mr. Fiscus is no longer on the board, and so he's absent. But any announcements? No? All right, I need approval of the agenda for tonight.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting and the executive session of November 15th. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any correspondence? All right, hearing none. All right, we go to the first public comment session. If you have any questions or you want to address the board, you can go up to the microphone, provide your name and address. Hearing none, we'll close that portion as well. No unfinished business, and so we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Stock. We're going to start with the Clarence Schools Enrichment Foundation, giving away more big bucks. Jenna, you're on.
Okay, I'm pretty loud, so I hope everyone can hear me. Good evening, my name is Jenna Pasquale, and I'm the grant coordinator for the Clarence Schools Enrichment Foundation. On behalf of CSEP, I'd like to present to the Board of Education the winners of our Fall 2018 biannual grant program. This fall, we received 20 grant applications requesting a total of $19,056.36. I'm proud to announce that the CSEP board has approved the funding of 14 grants totaling $13,523.13. The grant selection committee looked for grants that would enhance the educational experiences of the students in the Clarence Central School District by offering ancillary enrichment in the arts, sciences, math, technology, applied career skills, and athletics. They took into consideration the number of students impacted, need of the project, and alignment with the goals of the school district and individual buildings within the district. I'd like to take the time to recognize the members of that selection committee who all reside within the district. This time we had Cheryl Clements, who's been a board member on CSEP since 2014. She's been actively involved in the PTO for the past 15 years, currently serving as the middle school president. She has 2 children that are graduates of Clarence and currently in college, a 6th grader at Clarence Middle School and a 4th grader at Harris Hill. And she's a substitute teacher and currently returned to school to study nursing. We have Rachel Silva, she's in the crowd, but Rachel is a science specialist and senior specialist and project manager at TRC Environmental. She is the mom of 2 daughters. Elise attends 1st grade at Harris Hill, and Caroline will start kindergarten in 2021. Our third grant selection committee was Dr. Adrienne Costello-Solik, who worked as an educator for 18 years. She started as an English teacher and eventually worked for 12 years as an associate professor of English at Ball State College. She currently works as a consultant for her family business, which is Extreme Discount Mattress. Proud supporters of CSEP on many occasions. Adrienne is a 1994 graduate of Clarence High School, and her son, Michael, is in the 3rd grade at Sharon Hill. And our last selection member was Lori White, who's the Director of Business Development and Search Consultant with Performance Management Partners. She's a parent of 3 children in the district, ranging from kindergarten and 1st grade at Harris Hill to a senior at the high school. I'd like to ask my husband, Jody Pasquale, CSEP board of Education member, and CSEP liaison, Don Snyder, and Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Hicks, to please come forward to help us to present our recipients to this year's grant winners.
Thank you. Laura Koff, community-based instruction from the middle school. And and you should say again, Laura Koff and Jessica Moore. They did the sensory room for CMS at the middle school also. Amy Chizowski, she did a toolkit of specialized equipment for Harris Hill. Renee Harris, activity centers and poetry enrichment in the Sheridan Hill Library. Ronald Kotlick, I don't think he can be here tonight, but paperless classroom Chromebook toolkit at the high school. Jody Raspierski and Deborah Gardner, inclusive makerspace learning environment for 21st century learners at the high school. Jim Hanlon, Earth Spirit field trip. Erin Ostrom and Anne-Marie Olzak, Clarence Center Elementary Sensory Library. Catherine Green, Scott Gretsch, Janine Zavorny, and Thomas Claxton, utilizing digital drawing in all of our elementary classrooms. Ashley Drabellis, 7th grade Healthy Bodies Theme Day. I don't think she's here tonight. Margaret Aldrich, Harris Hill Elementary STEAM Lab. Mary Jo Brunetto, Makerspace at Ledgeview. George Gillum and Lou Vitello, Academy for Visual and Performing Arts, one of our newest academies at the high school. Kevin Modelmayer, Family Support Center at our new Family Support Center, which is housed at our middle school. Since the beginning of our grant program in the fall of 2014, CSEF has awarded 112 grants totaling $114,422.68. These programs have been made possible by generous donation from members of our community and through the support of our 3 major fundraising events during the year. On behalf of the foundation, I'd like to publicly applaud these individuals for developing enrichment activities for the students of Clarence. CSEF is thrilled to support these opportunities and celebrate the efforts of these district employees in their dedication and commitment to their students. CSEF would also like to take the opportunity to announce our support of the Clarence Post-Prom 2019 event with a $1,000 donation. Clarence Post-Prom embodies CSEF core values of providing safe and supportive educational enhancement for students by offering seniors an alcohol and substance-free party following the prom. Many Clarence High School students volunteer their time and efforts at CSEF fundraising events, and we're proud to contribute to a celebration of their accomplishments. Our 5th annual Party with a Purpose to benefit CSEF will be held on Friday, March 1st. I encourage you all to come out. It's at the Clarence Town Park Clubhouse at 6 p.m. All the money raised funds all of these events directly. Come out and join us for a great night. There'll be band and music and food. Tickets are $35 and can be purchased on our website at www.clarenceschoolfund.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna and Joe and teachers. We'll just pause slightly. Anyone who won the CSEF grant, if you need to exit, please do so now and right before we get to kids. Okay, next on the agenda, Mr. Stock, is Peg Aldrich, the principal at Carousel Elementary School, and her students, who are going to talk about the STEAM experience. You and the kids are on, Peg.
Hopefully the microphone is on. We good? Okay. Thank you. We want to present a little bit about our STEAM initiatives here. And as you can see from the CSEF presentation, we're getting some tremendous support from our grants, and it's tremendous to be able to continue to have some of these programs take place. And as you'll hear, we also will have our STEAM lab up and running, and in fact our board just pre-meeting was in there, and we have things coming in boxes we're unfolding as we speak. I just want to take a moment based on receiving the grant too, just to mention, I believe the Shearers are here. If you could stand up. These are our two parents that Mr. and Mrs. Shearer, who helped chair a committee of parents that are working very closely with me and the teachers to develop the STEAM lab as well as STEAM initiatives in our building. I don't know if any of the other members of the committee are here. If you are, stand up, but I think, yeah. So thank you to the Shearers. This is since August. They were helping us put together, we have about 10 to 12 parents on the committee from all sorts of fields in the STEAM area. So thank you very much for your efforts in helping us get the grant and putting the plan together. Now, our STEAM initiatives. It's very exciting to be looking at science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics, and looking at not only what we're doing in those areas of our curriculum, but how we're extending it into other parts of what we do. And this is kind of threefold. We took three different approaches to highlight and showcase tonight with our students. And we're going to begin with Mr. Hanlon, talking a little bit about the hands-on piece with the student group he worked with on his field trip that CSEF supported.
Thank you. First of all, I do want to thank CSEP for also supporting us again this year in the same exact field trip we're about to talk about. The students that we'll have talking to you tonight in a minute are Evie Nab, Braden O'Brien, Gabby Walzak, and Preston Aranosi. But I just wanted to briefly highlight what exactly happened so that they can then talk about their reflections. When we talk about science in action and specifically STEAM, we talk about hands-on engagement. And what I noticed that was probably lacking most was the fact that we didn't have the hands-on piece in the field. So I worked with, I should say, the third grade team here in Harris Hill worked with Earth Spirit, which is a local naturals group made up of professors at local colleges and university to work on scientific inquiry in the field. Specifically going to Buffalo Ski Club in Colden, New York, and having some hands-on activities. They experienced everything from artifact viewing to actual harvesting, and they'll talk to you more about that. And the instructors, again, as I said, are experts in the field. They're local college and university professors who do this on a daily basis, working with local area colleges, students, and also high school and elementary students. So again, the proof obviously is in their smiles, but I'd also like to have the students talk a little bit about their reflections. So we'll start with Debbie.
Last year we went on a field trip to Buffalo Ski Club to learn more about ecosystems. We were able to see so many cool things in the forest that we learned about in the classroom. For instance, we learned about vines, and then we saw vines in the forest. We learned how they are a producer and how they also serve as a source of water for us.
We also learned about many other kinds of producers, like wild onions. We learned that these grow in the forest and can serve as a source of food for the animals and humans. We even were able to harvest some of them. They were delicious.
We also learned about consumers as we conducted a creek study for different types of wildlife. We saw salamanders and learned about their habitat and where they may be found. It was fun being able to see the consumers in their natural habitat.
Artifacts being taken out, so we need a minute.
We also learned about predator-prey relationship. We saw examples of amazing artifacts like these showing how animals adapt. In this artifact, you can see how the deer's eyes are on the side of its head so it can see predators coming. Here is a mink skull showing eyes in front for seeing prey. Remember what they say, eyes in the front likes to hunt, eyes in the side run and hide. It was great being in the woods because it helped me understand it better.
And now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Schnitter for the 5th grade experience.
Thank you, Mr. Hanlon. Excuse me. Thank you, thank you. Hi. I just want to let you know, our 5th graders this year were able to go to the Niagara Power Vista for the very first time. We've never gone there before on a field trip, and we all thought it was an awesome experience. And well, I brought along 4 delightful 5th graders that we'll talk to you in a moment more about it. But it was, we'd love to make it an annual event. I think it was a great learning experience. They got to experience a 4D reality ride that went through like how electricity flows, and it was kind of chair gripping, and I had firsthand experience because I rode it twice. So that was really kind of fun, and I do a lot of hands-on experiments. And I think though, as an educator, one of the best parts of it was the fact that it really opened their eyes to exciting and rewarding careers in science and engineering. So I think it was a really great for them to have this opportunity. So I have brought along Luke Peterson, Gus Heiler, Caroline Carlson, and Lily Shank, and they can tell you some more.
The Niagara Power Vista is a fun and creative way to learn about math and science. One game has you charge your cell phone while riding a bike. I was amazed by how much work it took to charge a phone that would only work for 4 minutes. Another creative way that we've learned about electricity is through a Storyworks magazine. This month's Reader's Theater is Light. We learned how Thomas Edison successfully found thousands of ways light bulbs won't work. I'm glad Mr. Edison never gave up on his work. One of my favorite parts of the Niagara Power Vista was playing on this big table with panels. You can add buildings to and connect electricity to them. The panels let you know if too much electricity was flowing to the homes. Computer hardware engineers, technicians, and electricians make sure the power flow is correct. If there's too much electricity going to the houses, it could cause a fire to start in people's homes.
One of the activities teaches you about static electricity. You put your hands on the static ball and the electricity makes your hair poke up. I thought, wow, I can really feel the electricity pulling my hair up. This really got me thinking about when we study electricity in my 4th grade science class. I must be completing a circuit.
In the movie room, we learned how human lives depend on this invisible source of energy. Jobs like biomedical and electrical engineering help us use this energy. The games that we played showed us that installers and repairers make sure that the electricity gets to our homes safely.
Okay, and now I'd like to turn it over to our art teacher, Mr. Gretsch.
Hello, everybody. I'm the art teacher, and I'm bringing Lily Shank. She's pulling double duty. She's also talking for me, Hallie Geron, and Parker Hensley, and they're going to talk a little bit about a rain barrel project that we do. And it does have a science connection in the sense where it talks about why it's important to collect rainwater runoff to help stop pollution of our waterways. But it also brings the arts into STEM or STEAM. I'll admit I was watching a commercial this weekend and they kept talking about STEM, and it sort of fried me a little bit because I kept forgetting about the arts. And I think that's because a lot of people think of art as a thing. It's a painting, it's a drawing, it's a sculpture, it's something I did in school. But I like to think of art as more of a way. It's a way of creating. It's a way of looking at a problem. It's a way of taking an idea and bringing it to a concrete solution, to something that's tangible. And the rain barrel is really a great example of this. The students, they had to use their design thinking, their creativity, their collaboration in conjunction with their artistic skills to bring things, or to bring this rain barrel to life. So I'm going to have my 3 students talk a little bit about a little bit about the project, a little bit about creating a model, collaborating, and actually constructing the barrel itself.
Creating a model. Did you know that stormwater runoff is the #1 cause of pollution in our waterways? The rainwater runoff flows across lawns, parking lots, and roads, picking up dirt, oil, and other pollution along the way, and empties into storm drains or streams. A rain barrel collects and stores rainwater runoff from your roof before it picks up pollution. Then you can water your garden with the barrel water. Each one of us had to brainstorm and create a model that illustrated the theme: recycle rainwater and prevent stormwater pollution.
Collaborate to create a design. We worked as a team and had to collaborate with each other to make many decisions. We had to reflect on what we were doing and decide if it was working. One challenge was creating the final rain barrel design. We had to decide what was important to keep from each model and what we could eliminate. So one decision we made was to add a healthy plant life to the final design to show the positive effects of rainwater. For example, the cherry tree blossoms, tomato plants, and the flowers. Another challenge was figuring out how to tie all the individual drawings into one design. To do this, we decided that the rainy sky was a good background to use for the entire barrel. It helped bring the whole design together and helped illustrate the idea of recycling rainwater.
The first step was to sand and prime the barrel so the paint would stick to it. Next, we drew our final design in pencil. It was fun transferring the type onto the barrel by making our own carbon copy paper. Then we painted the design. It was challenging to make room for everyone while we were working. So each time we painted, we had to talk and split up the painting jobs to make sure all of us had enough room to work. We had to collaborate and work together as a team to make our design come to life on the rain barrel.
Okay. Thank you to our students for sharing those thoughts with us. Special thank you. And definitely a special thank you to CSEF again and our parent and teacher committees that really made this come together. And just a last thought, this rain barrel, they do a raffle, correct? It's kind of a raffle each year of who's going to win the rain barrel. And I usually don't get involved with those things. I just stay out of it, right? And I said, I don't know. I'm just going to put a few in. And in fact, I think I saw Mr. Gretsch at the end, and I'm like, here's a few. I just want to get some in. Well, I won the rain barrel. And the rain barrel is going to go in our habitat in the center, and we're going to be recycling our own water to put the water on our plants. So I thank the students for their design work, that it's going to be housed right here at Harris Hill. So that's exciting too. So thank you everyone for your support. We're excited about really the further things that we're going to do with all of the funding, and we thank our students for sharing their special thoughts with us, and the teachers as well for your efforts in these projects. Thank you.
So thanks very much, Harris Hill students and teachers. We're going to pause one more time again to allow the kids and their families to exit. Attendance report, Mr. Stock.
Thank you, Dr. Hicks. So we're on to the finance section. Mr. Mancuso?
Sure. Only a couple of things. I do want to highlight the budget calendar. December is the month where we really kick off the budget season. I attached the internal calendar that we always use. I highlighted the 3 budget workshops that the Board of Education has scheduled, one at the end of January, February, and March, and then our April budget adoption. In addition, I also included a calendar from the New York State School Boards Association. It's kind of a nice timeline that gives you the whole perspective of what is due when, starting in February with the first item that we'll get to look at the tax cap and all of that. So any questions on any of the financials or the budget calendar?
No?
Just continue the next.
Yeah.
The next item are a couple of bids. Janitorial is a bid that we have every single year. As you can see, we have over $100,000 worth of janitorial supplies, cleaning supplies, things like that we need every year. We always do it at the end of the school year when all the bids are the busiest. So what we wanted to do this year is fragment them a little bit so that we could have time to thoroughly review all these bids. And we know the janitorial one isn't an option. You know, it's a bid that we have to have these supplies each year. So we did that one early. Everything is really awarded to the low bidder with a couple exceptions if they didn't meet the specifications. The other bid that we have here is for a student that just recently placed in Lockport. And we don't have the bus driver available at this time to do that. So we put a bid out. We have a recommendation to award it so that we can get that student going. Mr. Fuchs had signed a 30-day emergency contract, which is what happens as something like this takes place. And then this bid is for the remainder of the year. I do want to note that these bids don't have a period of time that obligates us. So as we get drivers, and we are recruiting, I think some might be on the agenda for tonight, as soon as we can do it, we immediately can stop the contract and take it over ourselves.
So a question on the janitorial contract. Now, you were saying that it typically runs until the end of the year. This one, you're saying you're just basically did it for half a year so that you can change the cycle?
It's a full
or?
year, and we'll just stay on this cycle at mid-year.
Okay.
So it's a full year of janitorial supplies.
Okay.
Now, the transportation one, was that a new placement, so it just came up?
Just came up right now, yes.
Any other questions? All right. Let's actually vote on these three, and then we can do the resignation next. So I have a motion to approve F1 through F3.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Next item then is the resignation. On November 30th, the district clerk's office received official resignation from John Fiskus as board trustee. He was just appointed the night before as superintendent of schools for Oakfield, Alabama School District. So while his resignation is official when he submitted it to the office, the board does need to accept it in open session. I also attached to the memo some options and thoughts about how to replace Mr. Fiskus. Those items are items that you can discuss in executive session.
Well, I think I can speak for everybody. We're sorry to see Mr. Fiskus go. He was a really great person to work with on the board, and we wish him well in his new role as superintendent. Any
We thank him for his service.
yeah. Okay. So do I have F3? Any motion?
That's F4.
Or, I'm sorry, F4. Motion for F4?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
The last item in the section is just an information item. Every 5 years, the school district has to do a building condition survey. Literally, our buildings and grounds superintendent, along with architect and engineers, to walk every single inch of the building, inside and out. They check it for structural damage. Takes a long time to do this, about 6 months. And then the report is filed online, and we document everything. In 2010, we did one, and that resulted in the last capital project that we did. So we did a lot of repair work. 2015, the last one was done, and what's attached to the memo is a huge list, 150 some items that are from that building condition survey. Brian Logal, our facilities director, and Jeff Nunn from the district's appointed architect, Gordon Jones Associates, prioritize them to their priority, obviously. But it's a starting point to have the board take a look at this for a capital project. The other piece to this is we do have debt falling off in the 22-23 school year. And timing for these projects would be something to consider so that as one debt comes off, another comes on. I know that West Seneca School District just passed a bond issue, and they did the exact same thing that I'm asking you to consider, is they put a project in place that will level their tax cap. So they just got that approved last week. So again, this is just a starting point for a discussion.
So, just a question on this. So, is it safe to say that all of these different elements that are on here are kind of treated as standalone things? So the estimate is if that was all by itself, but there might be some things that potentially overlap that could,
Yes.
you know, kind of, there's costs that are a little bit potentially duplicated?
Yes, there's, you know, there's about $40-some million worth of items on there. And if we look at the debt that's being relieved in 22-23 school year, it would be about 60% of that. But again, I literally just drew a line at that number as opposed to going through it other than the priorities that they put on. I do want to mention, also part of this is a reconfiguration of each of the 6 buildings so that there is a secure room as people enter them. Now, right now, we do have some enhancements as far as scanning people's driver's license and things like that, but the buildings haven't been reconfigured so that someone goes to a secure room, slides through their credentials, they're checked out in another room, and then they're buzzed through into the building. So those are the first 6 items that you'll see on the priority list.
Any other questions? Okay. Personnel, Dr. Patak.
Thank you, Mr. Stock. A few items. First, I have a correction under P3, the second item. We need to adjust the date from the start date from November 26th to November 29th. So you have a resignation, a request for leave of absence, amendment to previous board actions, appointments including regular substitute teachers, a probationary appointment, appointment of mentors, appointment of teachers providing academic intervention services, Regents review instructors. You have the first rendition of the spring sports coaching schedule. So this month it's for review purposes only. Presentation compensation, fall curriculum projects, substitute teacher list additions, and a board resolution to appoint a physician under Education Law, Section 913.
Any questions?
I'd like to thank the administrative team for doing the substitute teacher recruitment day. You have almost 40 new names already tonight, so thank you for doing that.
Any other questions? P1 through P8? All right, could I have a motion to approve P1 through P8?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Non-instructional staff, you have a termination, resignations, appointments of various positions, and additions and deletions to the substitute list.
Okay. Any questions from P9 to P12? All right, can I have a motion to approve P9 through P12?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, special needs and student activities.
There were 58 school-age Committee on Special Education meetings in the last month and 15 preschool, and these are mostly new referrals.
All right, any questions on special needs and student activities 1 and 2?
Is that a lot for this time, or is it normal?
That's pretty normal.
All right, can I get a motion to approve items 1 and 2 for special needs and student activities?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, board development?
We're asking the board to approve 2 overnight trips for competition. The first is a music competition for the New York State Band Directors Honor Band in Liverpool. And the second is for the baseball team to play in Mamaroneck, New York in late March.
Any questions on B1 and B2? No? Quiet night. All right, motion to approve B1 and B2.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, that takes us to our second public comment session. If you have any questions or want to address the board, come up to the microphone, give your name and address. We'll give you a minute or 2 of our time. All right, we have a taker.
Yeah, me, Mark Como, Utley Road, Akron. I just wanted to know if, I'd read this and I was rechecking it because I couldn't believe it, but that $328 a day, that's what the rate's going to be for that student the rest of the year then? Then is that average?
Is that average?
Like, is that normal to pay $328 a day to plus one student?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's why we don't contract unless we absolutely have to. And, my plan would be to take it over before the end of the school year. But that is, we put it out to bid, and that is what the going rate is.
Any other comments or questions? All right, well, we'll close the public comment session. We have a set of meetings that are in the packet, upcoming schedule of meetings, including the next meeting, which is January 14th in Clarence Center. Got a regular meeting. We've got our winter retreat coming up, and then we move into the budget session period. So we're going to have the first budget study session on January 28th. There's also a set of events that are scheduled and listed in the packet as well for the next couple of months. All right. Well, so we're going to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing employment history of a particular person and to discuss the collective bargaining with the Clarence Administrators Association. I have a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.